Hello to all my people, and if you're watching live, checking us out on YouTube, or listening on your favorite podcast provider, you are most definitely my people. Welcome to another episode of Botched, and Chair Shots. I'm your host, a chef by trade and a mark by choice. I am the Will Gray, and joining me tonight, ladies and gents, he is big, he is strong. Most importantly, though, he is your reigning and defending NWA television champion. He's big, strong Mims. Mims, how are you, brother? Thanks for coming on chat about some wrestling, man.
Oh, I'm feeling big and strong, and I'm glad that I'm here. I'm glad that I'm here.
We
As
were
your television champion, more importantly, that's what I'm really glad about, that we can say that now.
that's a huge step, and we're going to kind of talk about the journey getting there. But we were talking before we got going. You and I met once in Georgia. We kind of sat there and we chatted about video games of all things, sitting in a wrestling locker room. So I'm going to ask a question not related to anything wrestling to start off. My first question for you is going to be: are you playing anything new or exciting? Like, have you played any of the new games? Mortal Kombat 1, Baldur's Gate, Diablo 4. Have you played anything new?
Yeah, actually, I'm trying to 100% the invasion mode this season for Mortal Kombat 1. Already beat the story mode at least twice. Love the story, love how meta they got with it. It was actually pretty cool where they decided to go with it. I was surprised by the end of it. I didn't even notice that we just sat through going through the entire story of Mortal Kombat all the way up to Armageddon like 3 times now as of this game. Like, they ended right at the pyramid all over again. Spoiler, hey, if you haven't played the game by now, bro, it's been out for like over a month. It's October now. It's been out since September. But that and then man, Overwatch got me again. It got me again. I took a break for a little while. I think I hadn't played since mid to late July, but it kind of got its hooks back in me. And I think other than that, like I've got Starfield and Lamplighters League sitting in the backlog, like ready to go. I've just been so busy lately. I haven't really had a lot of days to myself or a lot of days off, so I haven't been able to start Starfield. I know that's going to be something that, for me, let's say whenever I got Fallout 4 back in 2015, hundreds of hours in that game until like the only thing that took me off of that game was playing Overwatch. So I was on that from the moment it came out in November all the way until Overwatch released in like what, June, July. So I'm just gonna wait until I have a lot more free time. Probably gonna wait until the holidays, something like that. Maybe around Christmas time, and I'm just gonna go ahead and jump into Starfield and dedicate my entire life to that because I'm not gonna be playing anything else.
I seem to have a lot of friends who have said that same thing. It was like Starfield was it. Tears of the Kingdom was another one for the guys that are on the Switch. It was like Zelda became their only personality trait once that game came out. So I can respect a little bit of a little bit OCD when it comes to the games like that. I would be remiss. You're here now. Let's talk NWA. Let's dive right into it and get
Okay.
into the wrestling stuff. We're gonna start a couple years back because I want to kind of start building up to you winning the title. So what I want to do is I'm going to say somebody's name, and I want to kind of talk about the stories you built with this person over the last 2 years, and that's Jordan Clearwater. So over the
Ah,
last few years, going back, my due diligence said November of 2021, Idolmania
mm,
Sports Management. You guys were involved in a big six man tag match. I think it was 6 man. It may have been an 8 man, but
mm.
took the unfortunate L. Then a few months later, going into 2022, you and Jordan went 2 times to time limit draws for that tag title. So let's start there. What's it like building up a story with somebody like Jordan Clearwater and always feeling like you were just coming up just that little bit short against him for something as important as the TV title?
I think that's the thing that kind of makes you think, what can I do to improve myself? Like the first time you can kind of chuck it up to bad luck and say, hey, well, I didn't manage my time. That's on me. I've got to figure out a way to make time work for me. Right. And I think that second time you really kind of sit there with that frustration and you really taste that defeat more than anything. And I think that's what I really did whenever we were in Knoxville for that second time, losing out to the clock, because you can't make those kind of excuses whenever you have a champion's advantage in the hands of a champion and you're trying to dethrone them. It's on you. It's on you to do something you've never done to get something you've never had. That's a phrase I like to use a lot. You've got to do something you've never done to get something you never had. So what was I doing wrong? That was the thing that I always thought to myself. And if I remember correctly, I think that might have been the last time I actually got the challenge for the NWA World's Television Championship until now. So there was a good amount of time from then, which, if I remember correctly, I think that was January of this year was the last time I got the challenge for it, until now. What do I do? What am I missing? And I think the best part of that time away is I got to spend time really focusing on my tag team wrestling as one half of Magnum Muscle with Dak Draper. Being under the tutelage of a veteran like that who's had what, at least 11, maybe coming up on 12 years now. He's had his time in NXT, he's had his time in ROH, he's done a few things in AEW so far, and then also coming here in the NWA trying to make that his new home. And seeing all the knowledge that he's gained on the road over these years and all the lessons that he's learned, either the easy way or the hard way, and kind of being able to have that mentor around me. And I think you know, being an NWA, like as a bigger conversation, there's tons of mentors that I've had since walking in those doors to the NWA. People have taken an interest in me and taken an interest in my career. And it's one thing to have them around, being able to go back in the locker room and say, "Hey, watch my match. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. Tell me what I can improve. What drills do I need to do to get a little bit faster, a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, so I can defeat my next opponent." No, when it comes to my relationship with Dak Draper and how that made a big change for me to give me that edge that I needed to finally, taste that championship gold. I think it's because he was more hands on. It's one thing to, like I said, go back in the locker room and say, "Hey, watch the match," and all that jazz. But it's another thing to have that man standing with you in the trenches, side by side. You guys are standing 20 toes deep, 20 toes deep, because there's two of you guys. And as far as I remember, I think he's got about 10 toes. And so we're standing together to where he can directly see, "Hey, we took this loss this time. This is what you didn't do right. Here's how you learn that lesson. Here's where I'm pointing that out for you, because of the fact that we're like brothers here. I've got your back. Dak has my back, if anything." And so he can tell me exactly where I'm needing to improve. And it was a big step for me to go outside of Magnum Muscle, to try again, try one more time, to feel like I was ready to spread my wings in a sense and go for that title one more time. And if anything, Dak was one of the biggest motivators to go back and try it. He saw the improvements we had made. We had gotten so close to winning the tag team titles a few times, and it was due to circumstances outside of our hands. So we came to do business. We came not to play. We came to get those tag team titles, but a few times they kind of got snatched away from us. And then even we got a little bit unlucky when it came to the Crockett Cup. But that's all experience. That's all something that we can use as a feather in our cap to further our progress the next time we decide to challenge for the NWA tag team title. Or, in my case, challenge for the NWA World Television Championship. And obviously, as you can see now, the lessons from Dak Draper, Mile High Magnum, or just the most Magnum, Dak Draper. That's my new moniker for him, the most Magnum, Dak Draper. There's so many Magnums in the world of professional wrestling, but he's the most
The
Magnum,
most Magnum.
the most Magnum. But seeing those lessons kind of come to fruition whenever I got in the ring with Zicky Dice was probably one of the greatest feelings in the world. One of the best, and I hope he thought of it like this, because he knew before I went out there. He was like, "Brother, I've given you all the tools. All you got to do is execute. That's all you got to do. You're going to walk out there and execute, and I know you've got this." And so I think this is somebody who believed in me even more than I believed in myself until I got out there and did the damn thing. I did the damn thing. And so I'm glad that he got to do a little "I told you so" dance. He got to give me a "I told you so" speech. I knew you had it in you, Mimsy. It's I was probably one of the best parts of it is coming out of that studio and seeing him standing there and saying, "What did I tell you? What did I tell you, Mimsy? What did I tell you?" So, that's how we get to here. It's those when I think of Jordan Clearwater, those were harsh lessons that I had to learn. Those lessons that I had to learn led me to Dak Draper, and leading me to Dak Draper led me to those lessons being directly taught to me, where I maybe wouldn't have understood exactly those lessons I was learning by losing to Jordan over and over and over again. I was able to learn those with somebody who truly cared about propelling me forward. You know, hey, Jordan's a great guy, but he's still the guy standing on the opposite side of the ring. Sometimes you just need somebody who's standing on the same side of the ring as you.
one of those guys standing across the ring from you, Ziggy Dice. He's one of
Ziggy Dice.
those when you talk about the indie darlings, and I know some people like that term, some people don't like that term,
Mhm.
but Zicky's one of those guys. It seems like everywhere he gets booked, he's hot. Everybody loves him. When it came down and it came time, and you were standing across from him, what felt right about that night in Nashville in that moment to be like, this is it. After that 2 years, like, did you know going into the match, like, we're about to have a banger? We're going to pull it to the whole 605 because you've done it twice now with Jordan. You go in there with him
Mhm.
and you guys push it right up to the line again. So did you go into it? Could you feel it? Tonight's the night. Did you just know?
See, that's the thing with Zicky Dice. This is something that people don't really think about, just because he's so flamboyant, he's so outlandish. That you don't think about how dangerous that man is, and this is coming from somebody who was a true fan of Zicky Dice whenever he came into the NWA. To me, at that point, and to probably a lot of people, unfortunately, at that time, he was a relative unknown. But then you got to see exactly what he was about whenever he had that feud with Ricky Starks over that television title. Whenever he took that television title and made it his own, made it outlandish. One of those.
Mm-hmm.
And coming into that match, it's hard to deal with the people that you watch on TV, that you go around and you support. And when I say support, as in like, hey, brother, I was on Ring Crew. I was one of your gophers. You go get this, go for that, go for that. One of your go get it boys. I was one of those guys. If Zicky needed anything, if any other talent needed anything, I was the one to run and go get it. Even if I was lacing up the boots for any of the few opportunities I had to go out there and try my hand at what's going on in the NWA and get shown, hey, it takes a little bit more than just putting on some trunks and putting on some boots to win a match in the NWA. And I got to find it out the hard way just a couple of times, while Zicky was out there doing the damn thing. And I got to give that to him. I mean, now I get to say I'm in the same class as him. I get to step in that ring and find out if I can really stand 10 toes down across the ring from a former NWA World Television Champion. Am I able to be regarded as one of the greats, or at least one of the people that are in this club that most people in the world, most people in the professional wrestling world, most people that have hit the top of that mountain can't even say they've done? I mean, hey, I'm just saying. I've never seen John Cena with the NWA World Television Championship. I've never seen Triple H with the NWA World Television Championship, and he's my favorite wrestler. Never seen The Undertaker with the NWA World Television Championship, and that's not me saying that's not me saying that I'm better, but I'm saying that I'm in a very exclusive club, and that's a club that Zicky Dice has been in. That's a club that Zicky Dice has defended, has gate kept, and made for sure others did get into. And so I finally got to get in that club. I got to get in that club, not from some other opponent who's never touched that gold, who's never been in that club, who's never had admittance to that club. No, it's somebody who knows very well what it's like in that room, what it's like to be in the same club as a Ricky Steamboat, what it's like to be in the same club as a Tully Blanchard. This man already knows. So going into this, before I walked out, I think the last bit of doubt that I had before I stepped in that ring, because though I said some very spicy words during that last couple promos, um, you still got to be realistic. You don't like to think that I'm one of the most realistic people in professional wrestling, because there's a lot of smoke and mirrors. But I'm exactly who I am in real life. I'm that same person in the ring, but I just turned up just a little bit. And when I say a little bit, I mean a little bit. This is every part of Matthew Mims. And being a real person, stepping in that ring, I still have doubts. Everybody does. Everybody has fears. They have doubts. They have wonders. They have second thoughts. And one of those second thoughts that kind of bugged me leading up to that moment we stepped in the ring together, before the bell even rang, was, do I belong here? I'd had my matches against Tyrus. I'd had my matches against Jordan. I've been number one contender so many times I've lost count. It feels like I've been number one contender for years, and and I've been able to count the lights so many times. Like I twitch every time I see a light. I'm twitching right now looking at my lights because I've counted so many. And so wondering if somebody who's been so qualified, again, somebody who's not a brand new champion, he's already done this one. He's already been there, done that. Wondering if I even had what it took to beat that man. You know, And if I even had what it takes to be in the same ring with him and not just get ran all over, not just get dumped on my head and thrown out again, you know. So finally removing that doubt by getting in there and mixing it up with him was a big accomplishment for me because, again, like I said, I watched Zicky's stuff. I was there. I was backstage watching it whenever he was performing on NWA Power. And again, I mean this in the sincerest way possible. I'm being completely earnest here. I was a fan. I can't say I am now. I mean, from the same things that I said before, it's that disrespect to the NWA, the company that I love so much, the company that now, at the expense of Zicky Dice, I get to represent. I get to represent. I get to hold a television title. Coming into the new year, actually, I mean, I'm sorry to get ahead of you, but I'll be the NWA television champion
To open
going into those.
2024.
Yes, going into those two new TV deals. Sorry to let the cat out of the bag if you guys haven't already heard. You
Oh,
know,
they're on
just
my list. Trust me, those are on the list.
oh, they're on the list. They're on the list. But uh, it was a great feeling. It was a great feeling. It was very cathartic after so much time, so much heartache to go in there and win against somebody of Zicky's caliber is a big deal for me. And you know what? I can't even lie. I said I wasn't a fan just a moment ago. Honestly, what I said in that same speech, you got to earn that respect. And we stepped in there and he brought it to me. I brought it back to him and I became the better man on that night. But, you know, he's earned at least my respect in that. Everybody else in the NWA, I can't speak for them. I can only speak for me. But that performance, Zicky Dice is the real deal. And I absolutely do think that he has earned that respect back, stepping in those doors to the NWA. He's a serious competitor. He's never going to be anything less. And you know what? If I wouldn't have won, he would have been a fantastic NWA World Television Champion, just like he was before.
So, looking at the near 4-year career you've had with the NWA, looking at the
Mhm.
last 2 years you've been pounding through to get where you're at. Now, as a fan, but also as the champion now, having Jared, huge friend of the show, love Jared, put him over every chance I get. You have a
Yeah.
chance. Jared hands you that belt, holds your hand up. You're the dude now. You're that last domino to fall in this new NWA era between 75 and when they premiered your taping. You were that last domino of all the title changes that happened. What's
Mm.
that new era of NWA look like for Mims?
For Mims, that looks like a more intense Mims. That looks like a bigger and stronger Mims. It doesn't look like the same one before that was just happy to be there. Because of course I am. Who isn't happy to be here? I'm in a major company. I'm with the NWA, some place that has tons of history, more history than every other North American professional wrestling promotion. I think the only one that might edge it out in age is CMLL, if I remember correctly. I think 1942 to our 1948. So, this new era means a lot to me. And I think everybody's got to see that unfold with the changes we've seen happen, not just at NWA 75, but then me coming up on the tail end of that. And I think that speaks leaps and bounds that I'm the last person to come in and say, hey, this doesn't change until I change things. I'm the final one to make a decision to say, hey, you know what? This new era can't be the same old thing we've been doing for the last, what, 3.5, almost 4 years at this point. This can't be the same. We can't have this same Mims going into a professed new era. I've got to change because times are changing. We're not going to be the same as we were in the first 3 seasons. I mean, I'm on the internet too. We're all on the internet. Sometimes I'm chronically online and I shouldn't be.
I think we all
But I
are.
know what they say in the comments where they talk about the first 3 seasons. Oh, first 3 seasons of Power were great. Oh, they were the best thing ever. We should go back to that. Bring back this person. Bring back that person. Hey, I was watching those episodes. I was a fan. I was on some of those episodes. But I understand we can't get those people back. They've found those greener pastures. We can't get that same feel back. So many people gone. So much of that same mystique, that nuance that we had is gone. But this is what we can do now. We can build up something bigger. We can build up something better. We can build up something more Mimser. Is that
More Mimsy?
just to have me more Mimsy, more
More
Mims? I like
Mimsy.
that. More Mimsy. We can do that. We can build something better than what we had. Some people after the pandemic hit and we took our hiatus and we came back, a lot of people lost faith in what we were doing. If anything, for me, I'm not gonna lie, I doubled down. I still believed in the company that we still had. I still believe in the people that were sticking around. I still believe in the people that were going to be here in the future. Some of the people that are here right now. I mean, I'm one of maybe a literal handful of people that have been here since episode one, that have been here since the very first season. There's not many of us left, and those people still believe just as much as I do, if not more. And I believe in everybody that's currently sitting on this roster. I believe in the people that are sitting here trying to break through and get a permanent spot on this roster. I believe in them. I believe in our talent agents. I believe in our talent relations. I believe in all the people that are higher up. I believe in Kyle Davis. I believe in Joe Galley. I believe in Billy Corgan, and I believe in the NWA more importantly. And I always have. It's something that's always had that respect for me. Even though, hey, growing up, I was a WWE kid. I watched WWE all the time. But I also learned that respect for the NWA a long, long time ago. And I know when it comes to pro wrestling, you can't count anybody out. No pun intended. You cannot count anybody out, especially don't count out the NWA. If you have people like myself, if you have people like a Billy Corgan, if you have people like a Joe Galley, if you have people like a Kyle Davis, like Jared, like Scott Wheeler, if you have people like that, even Kevin Keeney, don't let me forget that man. Don't let me forget that man. He's been very influential. He's been a part of a lot of my best matches. You have those people that believe in this company, believe in what we're doing so much, and they do only their damnedest to make for sure we improve. We continue to come out on top, and we continue to compete with the other major promotions that are around by having the best quality wrestling on the planet. You could never, never, never count us out. With those people behind us, those people staying here, and the countless others that sit in that same locker room and believe in those three letters, you can't count us out. And that's why I'm so happy to say that there is a new era now. That I'm a part of that I'm one of the last big sweeping changes that come along with that, because we all believe that much. And with this new era, you guys are going to see the product of that belief. And we're only getting better. I Right now, I'm glad that everybody's finally figuring out exactly what's going to happen, or getting an idea, a rough idea of what's going to happen in 2024. Because those are things that some of us knew about for a while. And it was just slowly seeing those dominoes fall. I'm using what you used before, slowly seeing those dominoes fall to where we get to that point where we can go back and we can beat those first three seasons. We can make the naysayers say, maybe we were wrong. Maybe this is the best Power's ever been. Maybe Billy Corgan really knows what he's doing. Maybe the NWA, they really have the head on their shoulders. Maybe those three letters aren't exactly as worthless as we thought. But hey, I'm
Look, you
just one Mimsy man. What do I know?
very mimsy, feeling mimsy tonight.
Oh, yeah.
So you brought him up, Billy Corgan. There's no denying what he wants to do with the company, the direction that he's taking the company. He recently came out. I might be wrong on my quote. I think it was busted open, maybe, but I don't remember. But he brought up the new
Yes, it
TV
was.
deal. It was busted open. Okay, see, do my due diligence. Turn my rocks over.
Yeah.
He brought up the new TV deal, not one but two new deals. He's got multiple projects coming out for you guys, tons of new content. Looking at it from the talent perspective in that locker room, what's the excitement level like as Billy leads you guys into this new era, working for the William Patrick Corbin version of the NWA now, as he gets ready to compete with the big boys with TV deals and everything, and all the new territories in Ohio and Exodus Pro and everything Billy's doing to make the NWA big again and make it everything that it once was. You talk about Waterloo in 48, that's the direction Billy wants to take it now. What's the excitement level for you guys in the locker room?
The excitement level is off the charts. Honestly, I think now being a part of that locker room the entire time through this Billy Corgan era, I'm able to tell you that I think the excitement is even higher than it was just in those first three seasons of Power, right before Power even aired for the first time. I think the excitement's even higher. It's an excitement that's not just contained to our locker room. This is something that goes across any locker rooms on the independents around the entire world, because what the territory system means, what the new TV deal means, is that there's so much more opportunity for everybody to get seen, for more people to come into the NWA, for more talent to come here and compete. for our talent to solidify their place on this roster, for new talent to come in and supplant the ones who cannot make the cut when it comes to that competition. We are breeding the absolute best in professional wrestling, and how we do that is with a new platform, with new energy, with new excitement, with more competition, not just in front of the camera, but also behind the camera. And that competition breeds success. That's exactly what we're doing right now. That's why you can go into any NWA Power video, like any episode since we've had this new era start, and you can see the comments of people saying, "Wow, oh, this is so much better. Oh my goodness, this is so good. Power's so good now. What's going on?" That's that excitement. That's like excitement being shown in the, you know,
Okay.
these people that are outside the NWA that are chomping at the bit to have a piece of this, a piece of what we have in the NWA right now. Those people carry on that same excitement. They echo that same thing. And I think that's probably one of the best things that we have going in pro wrestling right now. I think that's one of my favorite things about pro wrestling is not just when a few people can get excited because they know what's going on. No, when everybody can get excited for it. And if anything, not only our locker room at the NWA, the locker rooms around the world and the independents, the fans can be excited about this because there's so much more in store. I know a good amount, but I don't even know everything. And I'm even more excited for that, for what I don't know, because I know it's going to be good. At one point, I didn't know these things. One point, I didn't know these things. And once I found out, I was saying, oh, well, I see how the wheels have been turning this whole time. I'm very excited to see where that goes. And now we get the big picture here. And hey, if I remember correctly, I may be quoting him wrong here too. If I remember correctly, I think he said he had a 20-year plan, and we're only a few years into this 20-year plan. If I remember correctly, I think we only might be 20, we might be 5 to 6 years into his 20-year plan that he's had ever since he bought the company.
Not even halfway.
And not even halfway. Maybe a fourth of the way. And you never know what we're gonna be at the end of that 20-year plan. You never know.
So with I said you were the last domino to fall with the TV title.
Mhm.
EC3, Kinsey Page, BFT, Pretty Empowered, like all of the new champions that come through the NWA post 75. Who are you most excited to see have a reign not named Matt Mims?
It would be Max the Impaler.
Oh, I do
They
love some Max. I love Max.
they are such a great throwback, and that's the weird thing. I would say a throwback because it's like one of those old school monster movies to me. But this is not another person that stands next to me. No, Max is an entity. Max is a being. Max is a creature. And I say that with the utmost respect. Please don't punch me, Max. I'm maybe big and strong, but I also do feel pain, and I'm allergic to getting hit. So when it comes to Max, that was something exciting and unexpected. Watching in the back, waiting for another conversation with one of our agents there to talk about my match, and then seeing that Max was coming up to get their chance at Kinsey Page's TV title, and then the excitement in my heart whenever I saw that Max had accomplished exactly the conquest they went out there to embark on in the NWA. It's I'm very proud to say that that's my fellow TV champ. That we are both the TV champs. That you look at us and it's like I think I made a post about it recently on Instagram where I said that's the yang to my yin. I'm the light. I'm the smiley guy. I'm the one who's really happy to be here. And then on my side, right beside me, standing, we could say standing 20 toes down because we're standing right next to each other. We're on equal footing in every way, shape, or form is Max the Impaler. Somebody who's the darkness to my light. No pun intended, because I think I'm the darker one here. But yeah, no, it's very exciting to see that Max has a prize that I feel like has eluded a creature like Max, a monster like Max for a while. This is surprising one that it's taken so long. Somebody so powerful, so strong, so influential, so scary. Scary?
It's a good word for it.
Yes, that's a good word for them. That's a good word for them. Has finally had their eyes set on the prize and then accomplished that in such dominating fashion. It is still dominating. It's still showing everybody a great example of what it is to be NWA television champion. If anything, I'm glad they already have a belt. I'm glad they already have a TV title, so they don't have to go after mine. I don't know how the rules work with that, but hopefully I never have to step in the ring with Maxie and Paler. They are scary, and me, I would like to not be scared. I stay in the house on Halloween. I'd turn my lights off. I make sure all these scary kids don't come to my door. I leave the candy bowl out there for all the scary costumes and all the oogie boogies and spooky wookies to stay on out there. Max is a little too scary for me. And my belt might actually be in danger if they decide, hey, I want yours too. Let's just hope we don't live in a world like that. Let's hope that's not what the real new era is where Max comes over and takes all the titles. And if they decide to do that, let me be last. Let me hold on to mine the longest. Take EC3's first. Take Kenzie's again. Take hers. Take the tag team titles. All those other titles. Let me keep mine for like a few months. Let me like get used to it. Let me keep it warm for you.
Keep it warm for you. I'm really impressed what they were doing over there in Japan with the Joshi stuff. That most recent program in Japan, going and working with the Joshi wrestlers and being that unforgiving monster, they knocked it out of the park. Love some
They
Maxie.
absolutely did.
Absolutely.
It could have been expected. It's Maxie and Paler. What else? We can't expect any less. That's disrespectful.
Okay, so I've got to bring it up. It's not just the TV title. You've done some other historic stuff in 2023. You and Magnum Muscles, Dak Draper. You guys got to crack at the Crockett Cup. Like that's a huge deal. Going all the way back to the 80s, the people have won who've competed in the tournament, always some of the best tag teams in the world. How did it feel to have a chance to get into the Crockett Cup this year and have a chance to go with Dak in such a historic tournament?
It actually felt great. I mean, it's having somebody in there that's really got your back and knowing that you guys that we have the chance to go for the most precious prize in all of tag team wrestling. Honestly, it's like a childhood dream to even be a part of the Crockett Cup in the first place, let alone for 2 years now. It's it's better that we got a bit farther than I got last time with somebody I like to call a mentor, somebody I like to call a friend, someone that I very much look up to in the Pope, Elijah Burke. And I really appreciate him taking me under his wing. And then, unfortunately, me just showing how green I still was/am, that I ended up being the reason why we didn't go further in the Crockett Cup that year, being able to come back a little bit wiser, a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, a little bit Mimser, and come in there with somebody who's become a close friend to me in the professional wrestling business and step a little bit further in there. We did still come up short, unfortunately, but this is where I guess I got to go back to my happy to be here ways. I was happy to be there, and I was happy to be there with the people that I've been with. I was happy to be there with Magnum Muscle as the name of this group, and I was happy to be there with Dak Draper as the person standing beside me, fighting off all comers. And when it comes to next year's Crockett Cup, because I've been thinking about next year's Crockett Cup since we left the Crockett Cup, I already know who I'm going to pick. Whether I have the TV title or not, whether he has the national championship or not, which you never know. We both could be walking around with those titles looking all types of delicious. And then maybe we can start a little collection. Those tag team titles, you never know what could happen. It's a new era. It's a new day. It's a new week. It's a new month. It's a new year. Well, not yet, but it will be a new year. You never know what could happen. But I'm already confident that, we will continue this upward trajectory the more we compete in the Crockett Cup. And you never know who could have that cup next year. Could be Magnum Muscle's cup. I am improving. Dak is always improving. So you never know who we could be. Well, that's where my mind's at.
All right, Mims. Look, I always end them the same way every time. Even television champions from the NWA still have to answer 5 random questions. They have nothing to do with wrestling. I've got your 5 queued up. You ready?
All right, I'm ready.
Question number 1. What was the last show you binge watched?
Last show I binge watched. Last new one or just the last show I binge watched?
Just last show.
Oh, I think I just finished for the first time. I finished Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec.
This is my jam. I even went and bought a Mouse Rat Pawnee World Tour shirt. Yeah.
I love that. Question number 2. You're on the road. It's late. You leave a show. Only fast food's open. What's your go-to fast food stop?
Ooh, if we were in a city kissed by God himself, blessed by Jesus himself, we would run into either a Checkers or a Rallies for the best fries on the entire planet. Literally, literally, God's food.
That's a
God's
bold food take, my friend. The best fries?
They are the best fries, hands down.
Wow.
I mean,
Okay.
hey, it's my opinion, but it's the biggest,
No,
strongest opinion in the entire world. Yeah, hey, what do I know? Just a TV champ. What do I know? What do I know?
just only the TV champ. Question number 3. I put this one down because, our conversation. What's your all-time favorite video game?
Oh, that's an easy one. Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Conquest. Every day, all day. That's never going to change. Literally, no game. The game could come out and literally, like, I don't know, give me immortality in real life and still would not be better than Diddy Kong's first time out as the main hero.
Solid pick. I like the older games too. I like the SNES when it relied so much on gameplay. Different conversation for a different day, though. Question
Yeah.
number 4. What's your favorite vacation spot?
Favorite vacation spot. I'm not a guy who goes on a lot of vacations. There's been a few places that I liked. I can't really think of one. I think like Myrtle Beach is pretty nice. I like to go in there. That was probably like one of the last real vacations I had. There was no work to do. There was no wrestling going on. It was just going to go visit my little sister who lives up in North Carolina, and we got to go to Myrtle Beach. That was fun. That was fun. I like Myrtle Beach.
I like
Yeah,
the
Myrtle
beach.
Beach.
I always like the beach. Last question. Toughest question of the night for you, man. Always the last question.
Hmm.
Do you think a hot dog's a sandwich?
Ooh, that is a tough one. What do we? Hmm. Okay. Okay. This is where I'm gonna answer it in a way that nobody's ever answered this before because nobody's really thought about it. They haven't used their big, strong brain muscles. A hot dog is not a sandwich. You want to know why?
Why?
Because when we talk about a hot dog, we're only talking about the meat material there. We're only talking about the actual meat itself. We're not talking about a hot dog with a bun or with any condiments. We're not talking about that. We're just talking about, well, for lack of a better word, the wiener. That is a hot dog. Do you think that's a sandwich? If a burger patty is not called a hamburger sandwich, we don't think of it as the full sandwich, then it's not a sandwich. There you go. It's
Wow.
it's it's like calling a bunch of ice a drink. It's not until you put it in the water. It's not. It doesn't count. It doesn't count.
Wow. That's it. You just changed my whole opinion on the question now. That changes everything, Mims. That
Yeah,
changes everything.
it does.
This is the easy part. I don't have to say anything. I don't have to ask any more questions. Put yourself over, plug your socials, any shows you guys got coming up. I know you got the Nashville tapings coming up. Anything you want to put over, this is your chance.
Let's see. Yeah. All my socials, any socials that I do have, I mean, I guess you can just Google it and find out which socials I do have. But I usually only use my Facebook occasionally, and then I also only use my Instagram. And I definitely use my Xbox Live. I'm on there all the time. I'm literally on there right now. I think I was watching Wolverine and the X-Men on Disney Plus, but I'm definitely on there all the time. It would be really underscore Mims because the funny thing is people think that's not my real name. I saw recently in a comment section on a YouTube video, Mims is such a dumb name. And I jumped in there and I was like, I'm sorry, that's my real name. Like I was born Matthew Mims. I'm sorry. Let me go be born somebody else with a dumber name. My name is cool. Screw you. Anyways, also, we clearly have Selwyn, the new pay-per-view that we just made up, and it's actually going to be fantastic. I'm very excited to see all the things happening with that. I'm very excited to see what I'm doing, and I have no idea what I'm doing. And I'm very excited for that. That's going to be on the 28th of October in Cleveland, Ohio at the Temple Live Event Center. And if I remember correctly, that's one of the best concert venues in Cleveland, bar none. We were actually in the Masonic Temple for the Exodus Pro Show, the very first debut Exodus Pro Show back in August. And man, that place is nice, but we're going to be in a different room, a bigger room that we're going to fill out with so many of the hashtag NWA fam. It's going to be crazy. And then on top of that, after that, look at a taping in Nashville, Tennessee, just about 20 minutes out from my hometown of Clarksville, Tennessee. That's going to be at Skyway Studios over there off of Dickerson Pike, if I remember correctly. I'm not too great with all the highway names and all the interstate names. If you say interstate numbers at me, if you're like, oh, Interstate 480, I don't know what that is. You're just saying
I
numbers
don't
on
know
my
what that
face, sir.
means.
What does that mean? But yes, Skyway Studios will be housing us for one day, one night only for the NWA to film the next season of NWA Power, another season deep into this new era. Basically, you can call this season 2 of the new era of NWA Power, of the new Lightning One era. We had the Lightning One era, now we have the new Lightning One era. There we go. And so that'll be on November 4th, if I'm correct. And then after that, I think we have a nice little spot show, a little live event that we have in Sarasota, Florida. That should be on the 18th, if I remember correctly, 16th, 18th November. It's in November. That's the most important part. 18th is what I'm leaning to. And that's going to be in Sarasota, Florida. It's going to be called Return of Robarts. Now, see, for me, it's going to be debut in Robarts because I've never even been there. I've never heard of Sarasota, Florida. But now I know about it. I've done my research, and I know I'm going there to do what? What I do best. Well, now what I do best. Defend the NWA. Defend the NWA World Television Championship. I'm doing that. And you know what? I don't have any more dates to provide you, but that's just because the calls, the texts, the emails, they're still coming through. I'm still having to tell people where and when I feel like coming out to defend this belt and, beat that ass of whoever they decide to stack up and go for this NWA World Television Championship. I mean, they're not going to win. It's not. I'm the World TV Champion. Like, bro, I can't lose yet. I got to carry this into the new year. I'm right now. You're looking at Big Strong Mims of 2024, and we haven't even got there yet. So I can't lose to 2023 as people. I can't do that. But I can come out and entertain your 2023 ass crowd with my 2024 ass Big Strong himself. So that's me putting myself over a little bit. I'm sorry. I'm looking at myself here on the camera and I'm thinking, oh, this guy needs to keep on talking. This guy needs to keep letting these people know exactly what's going on with the NWA World Television Champion. Sorry, I'm just so excited.
You should be excited. Spread the word. Spread the good word.
That's it. Well, that's why I'm here. And I'm thanking you for letting me be here to do that, to spread the good word of the NWA.
Mims, look, man, I appreciate the hell out of it. I love any time my paths cross with the NWA, and the few times our paths have crossed, it's never been a bad experience, brother. So I appreciate you stopping by and chatting about some wrestling with me.
Yeah, anytime, bro.
For the NWA World's Television Champion, Big Strong Mims, I am the Will Gray. Thanks for stopping by and listening, my people.